In December of 2024, Baltimore pizza shop Tinybrickoven wasn't making enough money and was planning to close at the end of the year. But as owner Will Fagg described it, a Christmas miracle happened. Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy walked in the door for one of his one-bite pizza reviews. Dave loved the pizza, giving it a score of 7.9, and loved Will. But after hearing Tinybrickoven would be closing, Dave knew he had to try his best to prevent this. He asked Will what would it take to save the business. Will came out with a number of $60,000 and the gift was granted by Portnoy immediately. This video was viewed over 17 million times on social media. Over $128,000 was raised for Tinybrickoven's Pay It Forward pizza program, and business exploded. I sat down with Will to learn more about this crazy day and what life is like after going viral in a one-bite pizza review. Well, we're super glad to have you here in Federal Hill in South Baltimore, and we're really glad that you're still here. Now, I know you were planning to close this shop at the end of last year, and then obviously Dave Portnoy walked in the door and things have changed, but
oh my gosh.
How dire were things before Dave Portnoy came in and the Christmas miracle that happened?
Yeah, I don't want to say they were really dire. I mean, we weren't, I think in a typical restaurant fashion, we weren't really losing money, but I was working here for a lot of time without getting paid. So if you look at it that way, it wasn't like I was bleeding money, but I was bleeding a lot of my time, and people started calling it my very expensive hobby, which I was kind of like, yeah, it does feel like a pretty expensive hobby. I spend like 16 hours a day here and I'm not making any money. That's clearly not a good use of my time. I've got my RN license. I could be making really good money doing that without any of the risk or overhead or outlay of money that you have for running your own business. And there's a massive need for nurses. So maybe I should just go back to nursing until I find maybe a better location where the shop could be more profitable. And so I think that was just kind of weighing in the back of my mind for a couple of years. Like, I was just like, at some point, you need to decide, like, if you're not getting paid, you can't just keep doing this forever. We've made our best effort to monetize the shop. It has not been profitable. And I think the location had something to do with it. I mean, certainly not having a liquor license in this neighborhood is a massive disadvantage, I would say, something that we've struggled with since we opened. And so I think it was just a matter of deciding, like, hey, now's the time to either make the shop profitable or to close it and find a better location. That's kind of where we were at. Actually 2 years ago, but then the bridge collapsed and the legislative session sort of got taken over by the bridge relief bill. And so I felt like, well, hey, now my legislators have a good reason to not be able to help me with legislation for our liquor license here. Let me stay open one more year and see if they'd be willing to help me next year maybe. And that was last year. That was just before Dave Portnoy visited. So,
gotcha. Yeah, I know as a business owner, it's like all the good business owners think about paying their employees and paying your bills and getting everything done first, and then at the end of the month, you're like, dang, there's not much left for me.
There's nothing left for me. And, yeah, that's true. So we were never not paying our staff. We were never not paying our rent, right? Like so it was never, I would say it was never as bad as the death spiral of like, now we're not paying anybody.
Yeah.
But it was bad enough that I just was personally not getting paid. That felt wrong also.
Yeah. And obviously people hear stories sometimes of business owners that don't do great things, but look around us right here. We're surrounded by probably 200 businesses. Like, how many lawsuits do you know about? Not many. It's most business owners are working hard and they're doing everything they can, and sometimes you go months without writing yourself a good paycheck. But we're thankful for people like you and everyone who creates these vibrant retail districts. That there's a lot of sacrifices that go into business ownership, and it takes a tough person for sure.
I think that's right. I think all the small business owners in this neighborhood and maybe in all of Baltimore are struggling in some ways with the same things that affected us. I mean, it's not it's not just Tinybrickoven alone. It's really a community of business owners that have seen maybe some slowdown in tourism and some things like that. So we'd love to see more people come back to the city. We'd love to see more tourism return. And we'd love to see people come down and enjoy Federal Hill for the beautiful, vibrant neighborhood that it is. So.
Yeah, and people tell me, to get into why don't you open a pizza shop? I hear that once a week. And
I mean, you are kind of a pizza guy. You are a pretty.
I'm a pizza guy.
You are kind of a pizza guy. I mean, you're a pretty known pizza guy.
But there's many reasons why I don't want to do that at this time. But one of the things I always say is just as a restaurant owner, there's so many things out of your control. You can't control the weather. You can't control whether the Orioles or the Ravens are good. You can't control the economy. You can't control inflation. You can't control if crime is rising. You can't control if there's political unrest happening.
Are you telling me if I wear my jersey and my hat, the Orioles aren't going to do better? Because I feel like I have a little control, Kevin. Now
I have a lucky shirt. I do have a lucky shirt, so maybe I'll bring it to you. But
I'm wearing my lucky shirt, just so you know.
But think about in recent years, the Orioles' attendance has gone from averaging 18,000 a year, which I think they were over 30 last year. If you can get that up to 35, that's literally 20,000 extra people a night in South Baltimore in the Inner Harbor.
That is incredible.
That could make or break somebody's business. And
we're so excited for opening day.
Yeah. I love the Orioles, but I know that the more people that are in the stands, the better the local economy is going to be.
That's legit.
That's also something I root for. Now, when I like to say, Dave Portnoy walking into a pizza shop is probably like Taylor Swift walking into a high school classroom. It's probably for a pizza owner, it's probably just a moment where you're like, no effing way,
I think you can tell by the look on my face. I was shocked out of my mind. It was so surreal. I think the two girls in the window really summed up the excitement the best. They were screaming and crying, all this stuff. And it was so strange because they had actually come in that night to have our pizza and gelato before we closed, before they went on Christmas break. So they were like, oh, this is the last night we're going to be in town before we go on Christmas vacation and before you close. So we wanted to come in tonight to celebrate the deliciousness of your pizza, the deliciousness of your gelato, get that one last time. It was almost like a last supper. And then they were the first ones that saw him walking down the sidewalk with his camera guy. And so they started freaking out before he even came in the shop. I didn't know what they were reacting to, but I was kind of looking at them. And then suddenly he walked through the door. So it was like an oh damn moment. I was like, holy crap. 4 years ago, we tagged him. We put his name on the wall. We were hoping he would come 4 years ago. And then for him to show up just 12 days before we were supposed to close, it really felt pretty miraculous.
You're like, this is why we mixed dough at midnight. Yeah, this moment right here.
Exactly. This is why we made it to one more day, one more year.
Yeah, this is why we did an extra day on the ferment.
That's it. For this moment, 100%, 100%.
And he came in, and a lot of things happened, and millions of people saw at least the edited version of a video, which included him loving the pizza. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
I always knew he would like the pizza. I mean, I feel like I am one of the biggest pizza nerds in Baltimore for sure. So,
but I think he came in here and he loved you, and he loved what he got a feel for Baltimore and South Baltimore while he was in here. So
I think that's right.
And then, I love how I wrote a story on southbeamer.com about the interaction, but I also said that you sort of aggressively promoted Baltimore while he was here.
I do my best to be an ambassador. Well, I think that's true of every shop owner. Anytime anyone sets foot into any shop in Baltimore, or any city for that matter, you get to be an ambassador for that city. If you are, whatever experience you create for that customer is going to be part of their blueprint of your city. So I always try to provide my guests a great experience, and I hope that becomes part of their Baltimore memory versus something they might see on the national media where Baltimore isn't always reflected in the best light.
Yeah.
And I felt I did watch several of other Dave's videos, and I felt like he did have kind of a quirky, cool, fun visit to Baltimore, which is something I think the city really represents.
Yeah, I loved looking at the comments too, where just like, obviously Dave went to the last review in Baltimore. He's like, these Baltimore videos have been something. You could just tell he was having a good time. And the commenters were just they're like, these Baltimore videos are fire. It's
they
they
are very cool.
There's cool people. There's characters. There's like Dave's having a blast. There's ladies yelling at him from basements. Like there's the fun old lady at Angeli's in Little Italy, and it's
Mariana. Yeah, he's like, I fell in love with Mariana.
Yeah,
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I just loved the attention it brought to Baltimore, and I obviously love that we're still in Tinybrickoven talking to you.
Yes, thank you.
So he came in and he decided, I need to do something to prevent you from closing. So sort of talk about him coming back in here and sort of wanting to make a contribution to your business and what that was like.
Yeah, that was so wild. I mean, I thought he was just going to come back in and tell me the score. Like, that's kind of what I was... When I came out to meet him, like, I was kind of like thinking, like, well, now he's going to tell me the score. Like, I'd like to know what the score is. Although, honestly, I feel like the interview went so well and everything else, the score is almost irrelevant in a way. Like, he was so nice to us. And then he was like, how much money do you need to stay open for another year? And I really didn't expect, I was already shocked that he was here. I was so pleasantly surprised that he was in Baltimore at all. It was really an honor to be able to greet him and to get him to try my pizza. I thought that was incredible. And then for him to offer me money, I was really surprised and humbled. I didn't know what to say. I didn't really want a handout in any way, and I wasn't sure what to say. But he did seem very insistent on getting a number, and so I felt like it would be rude almost in a way to not do it at that point. I tried once to be like, I don't know, and then he was like, yeah, but if some super rich guy's in front of you and you have to give him a number or he's going to walk away, like, you got to say something. So then that's when, I guess it was 4 years ago, there was a liquor license for sale for $30,000. We figured we need another $30,000 for inventory and equipment and some things like that. And so we were going to try to raise $60,000. That deal on that license fell through. Like, we were never able to secure a deal on that license, so we never raised the money. But that's why that number just stuck in my head. And so when he asked, how much do you need? I said 60,000. And then with basically no hesitation, he was like, done. And like on a handshake, I was just like completely shocked. I think even his eyes widened a little bit. Like, it was really kind of an insane moment, man. I never imagined anything like that could happen to us here. So
yeah, unbelievable.
Some people are saying it was a $60,000 tip. I mean, I remember as a kid when I was cocktailing, I got a $100 tip from this table that bought like 6 bottles of champagne. I thought that was probably the highest tip I was ever going to get.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will ever top the $60,000 tip. I have a funny feeling that's going to remain the lifelong biggest tip ever.
Well, maybe there's a chance, but
maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance.
Yeah. So obviously, I guess there was probably 2 weeks between him coming in and the review dropping. Would you say?
That's right. That's right. And 2 weeks of me having to figure out then how we would deal with a massive amount more of traffic. I mean, I think people are know pretty well about the Portnoy effect, that you're going to be sold out for probably several weeks after that review drops. So.
Sure. And was there any sort of NDA, like don't talk about the score until it airs or anything, or does it just walk away, or is there any?
There was no legal binding agreement, but he did ask me to keep it under wraps until the video dropped, and I felt like it would be disrespectful to go against that. I mean, I just felt like, here's this guy, he's giving you a massive gift just by visiting your shop.
Sure.
He's given us another massive gift by donating $60,000, and his only request is that we just not talk about it until the video drops. So I felt like the least I could do is be respectful of that request.
Sure.
it did make it a little bit difficult for a lot of my regulars who were like, are you going to be able to stay in business? Are you going to be able to stay in business?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think we're going to be able to stay in business. And then they're like, well, you could tell they want to know like why. And I was just like, well, I think you'll see very soon. Like,
Yeah.
Good
There were
things
some hints of optimism. I could tell after
good
that.
things have happened. I think we're gonna be fine.
I think the review dropped on December 23rd, I believe was the day.
That's right.
'Cause I'm at a Christmas party, and my phone is just blowing up. Probably to 1/10 of the degree that your phone was blowing up.
Oh my gosh, it went completely bananas.
And I'm like, and literally I'm at a party with other people that love pizza and love Dave's reviews, and we all had to like sneak into a quiet corner and like watch the video. And man, and then obviously talk about a viral moment. So many big Twitter users, and I think it got picked up by the New York Post and CNN and like all these
Yeah, it was wild.
big publications. So really cool. So after the review dropped, and it's probably not. Did he give you a heads up of when it was going to drop, or was it a surprise?
So it's funny that you say that. He had said it would drop before Christmas, since we
Okay.
had said we were going to close before Christmas. But
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm thinking like he's part of a big multimedia machine. Like just
Yeah.
because he said that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it can necessarily happen.
Yeah.
And so, but on the 22nd, I'm back here like working on. We got a new oven that does New York style, and I'm working with that oven, trying to figure out like how big to make our dough balls and some other changes that needed to be made. And so I just thought like at that point it was so close to Christmas, maybe even though he told us that it would, maybe it wasn't possible. Like maybe it had to wait till after Christmas, and I didn't mind that at all, and I completely understood like Dave is part of a huge machine. It's not just because he said one thing doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% going to happen. And so at that point, we were proceeding thinking maybe it won't drop before Christmas. But true to his word, it did drop just 2 days before Christmas, and the timing was pretty ironic, I would say. Like it really, really felt like a Christmas miracle.
So I guess the first day to impact business would be Christmas Eve.
Oh my gosh.
That's probably, it's always an interesting day for any restaurant business, I would think. But that's probably an interesting day to be all of a sudden the talk of town when it comes to pizza.
Normally a
Yeah.
very slow day for us. I
Yeah.
mean, you figure most people are not going to have pizza for their Christmas dinner or their pre-Christmas meal. And then we just had this line out the door, man. It was completely nuts. And media were here. I mean, we were so swarmed that day. I presume I could have been also very busy on Christmas Day, but I didn't feel like it was right to make employees work on Christmas Day, and we needed a break anyways.
Yeah.
So I just decided the shop would not be open on Christmas Day, and we'd try to be more ready for a very busy day the day after Christmas. So, and it was insanely busy for several weeks.
Awesome. I know as like having a media business myself, I think when you're producing a piece of content and it's going to be good. And obviously they knew this
Yeah.
video was going to be popular.
They somehow knew.
And they dropped your video on the 23rd of December, didn't drop another video for the end of the year because I think they thought people want to feel good around Christmas. This will make people feel good. This is a good way to put a bow tie on 2024. And then we'll get back to 2025. And it was exciting when 2025 hit because then it was just this onslaught of more Baltimore videos, which was cool. But I think they knew to let your video marinate right before Christmas and through the end of the year, and let people feel good about that. And obviously, I'm sure your accounting for the year 2024 had quite the ninth inning after that. So tell us about how busy were you in those days and weeks after the review dropped?
Yeah, it's so wild. I mean, I figured our little shop here with its tiny footprint is maybe set up to easily handle about 70 guests per day. And we'd be pretty profitable at about 70 guests per day, 5 days a week, 5 or 6 days a week. And I want to say after that review dropped, even though, so there were times when we would sell out of dough twice a day. We couldn't make dough fast enough. I had to buy like a dough baller machine, which we have now, which really helps. But every night we were making dough balls by hand. My hands were getting sore every night. We were serving over 200 guests a day. And that was, we had to limit. Like we had people coming in wanting to order 20 pizzas. And I had explained to them, like, we could not fulfill an order of 20 pizzas right now. We were limiting guests at that time to 2 pizzas per order. I mean, part of that was because we could not answer the phone. Mm-hmm. We turned off online ordering. The phone was ringing nonstop this whole time. Like the phone just be ringing. People from all over the world, some calling to just congratulate us, some calling to wish us well, some saying that, you know, they felt we deserved all the support and love and that they were really moved by our story. A lot of people told us that the video made them cry. So it was a massive outpouring of support. Just the night the video dropped, and when I was back in the kitchen working with the ovens, the registers started going crazy with the amount of people donating pizzas to our Pay It Forward program. And so, yeah, just like thousands of orders in the next 3 days would print out just saying pizza donation. Pizza donation times 1, pizza donation times 5, pizza donation times 10, pizza donation times 50 sometimes. And so I want to say we collected about $12,000 in donations in the first 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it was so wild. Just the donation volume alone was more than our normal sales volume by far. And people who just wanted to buy a slice of pizza for a complete stranger. It felt pretty miraculous, felt pretty nice.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that to me, pizza equals happiness. So I think
I agree with that.
I think you can donate a lot of things to a lot of people, but I think giving somebody a slice of pizza is probably pretty close to guaranteeing a smile, I would think.
100%. I mean, we've had certainly a lot of gratitude for that program, and maybe one of the coolest things we've ever done by far. Something we did way before Dave Portnoy ever came, and something that was certainly supported by the neighbors before Dave Portnoy ever came. So I feel like that vehicle for generosity is something that Baltimore embraced from the very beginning.
Absolutely. That's why we love this town. There's,
it's a great town.
Just think about like the amount of volunteering it takes to have South Baltimore function between the churches and the schools and the sports leagues and the neighborhood. We have too many neighborhood associations and the just all the amount of volunteering it takes to have a functional society is really plays out in a neighborhood like this, and that's so great to see people looking out for others. And I know too that you obviously you saw more people wanted to be part of the Pay It Forward program. You launched your GoFundMe, and that was super successul. So talk about sort of the success of that and just how that felt.
Yeah, that was so wild. I mean, I think we originally set our GoFundMe goal. So someone had said early on, they were like, oh, like with this Dave review, you need to do the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And so we did that just because they were like, well, this is the thing to do once you get a Portnoy review. So I thought, well, maybe we can raise $5,000.
Uh-huh.
In the first few hours, we had gone way past 5,000. So I was like, okay, I think we're at like 6,000. So I was like, okay, let me see if we can get 10,000. I raised the amount a little bit to 10,000. And by the end of, I think, the second day, we had exceeded that. And so at that point, we had so much money for the Pay It Forward. I thought, well, what else could we do that would really help our business and help us give back more? And then I thought, well, maybe this thing seems to be so viral. Maybe we could use that money to buy our next location instead of having a mortgage. And then we'd be in a much better position to be more generous with our neighbors and the organizations around here that could use donations. And so we raised it up thinking maybe that would be the limit. And we never quite got to that amount, but it did go up to 130,000, I think. And we had several CEOs donate to it. We had a hedge fund manager, Bill Ackman in New York, who donated.
Wow.
We got tweeted about like all over the Twitterverse, apparently, with people tweeting the governor, asking him to help us. I would love it if the governor and the mayor would show up, by the way. Like we want to definitely send that invite out. Like we would love for them to come by and have a slice. So Anyone in Baltimore,
You won't regret it.
Yeah. Anyone in Baltimore, who loves this city, we'd love for you to drop by and have a slice. 100%.
What is the? I know you've said you want a liquor license and you're here right now. What is the status of things right now? Are you actively looking for another location? Are you actively looking for a liquor license? Anything developing at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I think the path to get a liquor license is not a straight path. It's hard to know if we will have to change location or if a license will become available. We're trying to leave all options open for that because I do think for the long-term sustainability of this business, it would really be helpful if customers could have wine and beer with their pizza. It would be a game changer for us for sure.
I wore a shirt in one of my recent videos that just said, "Life is good," and it had a picture of a beer and a slice of pizza.
I mean, they really go together.
Yeah, they do,
It's a classic pairing.
I'll do root beer when I don't have regular beer.
We still have some beverages, just non-alcoholic beverages. We are BYOB for now, but it would be so nice if people could come in and buy a pizza and a beer. I think that would really be a winning combination.
And obviously you had that surge after the review dropped. Has business been steady and consistent and bigger than before in the past few weeks?
It has been. It definitely trailed off from, like, I would say, an unsustainable amount of customers. I mean, at that point we had to limit to just cheese and pepperoni. We've opened our menu back up a little bit, and we've made more menu items available, but we are still so busy we have not been able to offer delivery yet. So I think we're trying to staff up, get some good kitchen help, and then reopen delivery again as well.
Very cool. Be patient, people.
Yeah, try. Please be patient. We love you all so much. It's we're doing our best to serve you under these circumstances. We really appreciate you.
Before we leave, we love South Baltimore, and I know you're not originally from here, but you've really made it your home. You're more than just a pizza shop. I know you've been really dedicated to making sure people out there that are hungry can get meals. You've done your soup kitchens. You obviously have your Pay It Forward pizza program. I know you've done different initiatives like building hand washing sinks, which was essential post-COVID. I know you're a man of a million ideas. So why is it important to you to not just be a business owner, but to really take stake in the neighborhood where your brick and mortar exists?
I've always felt that way. A lot of people ask me if I'm the owner of this pizza shop, and I always like to tell them that I believe the shop is owned by the community. And I think every small business really needs that love and support from the community that they're in. It's not just about making money, it's about aligning with the neighbors that you have. And I've always wanted to be a good neighbor. I've always done my best to be a good neighbor. And when I came here, I felt like I was really I was really welcomed with open arms by a lot of the neighbors here. And so I've always believed that if you're going to be successful, it's going to be because of the neighborhood that you're in. And we found a lot of success. Even though we weren't making any money, we still had a lot of support for all of those initiatives. We still got a lot of donations. I mean, really thousands of donations before Dave Portnoy ever showed up to our Pay It Forward program from the neighbors here. So that really felt like a lot of love and support that it did help sustain our business through the very dark pandemic times, and something that we've always really appreciated. So yeah, I would say South Baltimore is more my home than any other neighborhood for sure, because we made it through the pandemic together, and we couldn't have done that without the love and generosity and support of this neighborhood.
Awesome. I think about that with my business, southbeemore.com, too. It's like sometimes there's tough months, but it's like, I wouldn't even know how to walk away from this thing. People would be real mad about it. They're like, no, you don't.
You're such a fabric. You're such a part of the fabric here. Yeah. We don't know what we would do without you, man.
Sorry, one more last question. When you're not making pizza for yourself and you want to eat some pizza elsewhere in the city, in the country, in the world, what are you seeking out? What kind of slice, what kind of technique is really what you're trying to eye if you want to get a slice of pizza and you didn't make it yourself?
Yeah, I really like to try all different kinds because I think there's always innovations. At some point, although I'm not a big fan of Hawaiian. I know a lot of people love Hawaiian. At some point, that was a new innovation, and someone tried that combination, and people loved it. So
if I could say real quick, my favorite thing about the Hawaiian, it's named after an American state. It was invented by a Greek guy in Canada, and it's an Italian food. So
it is kind of wild.
and if you add
right?
jalapenos to it, you could give it a Mexican twist.
That's it. I mean, we want to know when Canadians are going to invent, some other, or when Hawaiians are going to invent some Canadian pizza. I don't know, like so. But so I think trying new things is fun. But if I'm really going for maybe my favorite classic style, I love to go to New York and get a New York slice.
Of course, yeah.
I think Frank's in Baltimore is also really good. They're way on the other side of town, and so I think if you're on that side of town, you should go to Frank's, and if you're on this side of town, we hope you'll come to Tinybrickoven. But everyone's got their own personal favorites, and I think there's room for great pizza all over the place. So I hope more people are inspired to make great food. And I think they'll always find their audience if they do that.
Absolutely. I think customers can see when an owner's got passion and when an owner's got pride and when they go that extra mile to make the customer happy and to make the food good. And I think we're obviously seeing that here. So congratulations on us still sitting here with these cool red checkered tablecloths and in Tiny Brick. And maybe they'll be in a bigger location soon and we can get your pizzas delivered again and maybe have a nice Peroni with it or something. But congratulations on your continued success. And thanks for joining the podcast. And let's get those pizza ovens turned on.
Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate you so much, man.
Right. Awesome,
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.